Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Dear brothers and sisters, today we are going to talk about conversion cycle or production cycle. Today's topic is very important and it is to some extent it's quite a heavy topic, talking about the production cycle, which is related to several accounting cycles. We will talk about cost accounting. We will talk about also it's related to the purchasing cycle with from the side of the raw materials, supplying the raw materials, and also it's related to the sales cycle with regard the customer orders and so on, from the finished goods and so on, and then also to the human resource in terms of laboring, the labor cost, and managing the payroll of the people working in the production cycle. So it's very important. It is interrelated to other accounting or business cycles. Talking about production cycle process, we should consider three main activities under the production cycle process. The first one is product design, which is the source documents, bill of the materials, and operation list according to the design of the product. So we need to consider this as the first activity under the production cycle or conversion cycle in designing the product and planning what is the material to be in for designing this product, the aimed product. The second activity is planning and scheduling. The source documents here is the master production schedule, the production order, and the material requisition. So in here we should plan having a plan and schedule for the production process. And normally here we need to involve the sales forecasting, how much and also the customer order as well. So we need to know how much we should produce, and then we need to request the materials, the raw materials, according to what we have. So production order is based on the sales order, materials requisition is based on that orders, and also we create a master production schedule based on timing and the materials that should be involved in. Then after that we will have the production operation, which is the production line, where we have the combination of the raw materials process, and as well as the machine, labors, and the effort. Last one is cost accounting. Cost accounting activities is the activity that focusing in allocating the cost, the direct cost, the indirect cost, labor cost, and the raw material cost. All of this the different costs should be counted to the production or the unit of production in order to count the cost of the production. Okay, so as I mentioned just now, the production cycle process, this is to show how the production cycle is related to the other cycles. So here we have the revenue cycle, and in the production cycle we have sales forecasting and customer order as an input to the production cycle, and then the output is the finished goods. Okay, so the output to the revenue cycle is the finished goods according to those two input. And then based on the customer orders and sales forecasting, the production cycle will produce or will send the purchase requisition of the raw materials needed for the production process. Then the expenditure cycle will send the overhead cost and the raw materials. Then also the production cycle also need to schedule and plan the production and give estimate of the labor needs for the production, to the human resource and management of management payroll cycle, and then they will send the human resource or personal cycle or the payroll cycle will send the labor cost, okay, based on the time card and so on. And then after that we will have the reporting based on for the production cycle. We will have two types of reporting. We will have the reports to the management, and also and this one we can call it based on the internal based on the management accounting, based on the management accounting, which is as we said, it's not if you recall the first class when we talk about the two types of reporting systems. We have management reporting system, and we have the general ledger and reporting system, which is the preparing the financial statement here. Okay, so preparing the financial statement here, and here we prepare the management accounting, or we call it the cost accounting. Okay, here also the same figure explaining the conversion cycle and the relationship with other cycles in a simple way. So revenue cycle, giving the order sales, and then marketing systems, if it is separate from the revenue cycle, then we will have the sales production, and then expenditure cycle will give the purchasing, requisition, and labor usage. This is in case this expenditure cycle is carry two sides. One is the purchase cycle, one is the human resource cycle. So in case of combination, then we will have such things. And for conversion cycle also will send two types of general ledger and financial reporting systems to the through the finished goods cost and working in process. I believe the previous slide giving more details and explain more, but no harm to see the less subordinate companies how they handle this. Okay, the conversion cycle in traditional manufacturing environment. First, we have the transforms the input resource. The input resource is the raw materials, such as raw materials, labor, and overhead, into finished product or finished goods or services to be ready for sales to sell to the customer. Then consistence of both physical and informational activities related to manufacturing product for sale. So in here we this transformation process or conversion process of the resources, raw materials, labor, and overhead activities and so on, it will be transformed to the finished goods, either it is product or services. This transformation process is consist of physical or informational activities. Physical forms is the raw materials, also the labor cost, whereby the informational is kind of the recipe, the expertise of the staff, also the other things like the what we call the invention, if we have the code of the product and so on. Okay, so one of the following production methods is used in the traditional manufacturing environment. One, continuous processing create a homogeneous product through a series of standard procedures. This is the way we just produce, especially this is in the food industry manufacturing, where we produce a huge number of same product. just to fulfill the needs, because the customers or the consumers is there waiting for the product. Whereby there is another method used, is made to order, based on the order, and this one is processing involves fabrication of this discrete product in accordance with the customer specifications. So for example, when you go to the easy example of this is when you go to tailor to get your handmade or you get your size and so on, you get your badge, the badge that fit you for that product. Same can goes to the car industry. When you go to get let's say the company, normally the company, let's say Toyota will send different versions of the Toyota car to different countries. So in Gulf countries or Middle East, they need different specification compared to the East Asia or in Europe and so on, according to the environment, according to the agent request over there. And then the batch processing produce batch of discrete product, and in here is they produce, it's quite same to the continuous processing, but the different here they don't continuously produce like continuous processing in a homogeneous method or homogeneous norm, but here they produce a huge amount without process, without the waiting for order to be made by customers. So they produce in a batch creation of the product, and then they send to the market. Okay, so this is the DFD of the batch production report, and we can see here is the plan and control production, the starting process, and we see here it's based on marketing system, sales. We have the sales forecasting based on customer orders under the sales and revenue cycle, and also it is they will review bill of materials and road sheet, the RS. All of this will create purchasing requisition, will send to the expenditure cycle. If you notice here, why we didn't see here the customer or here we see we see here the customer, or we see here the supplier. Reason, because it is under the production or conversion cycle, there is no connection with external parties. Only it's connected to the external parties through other processing cycle. Okay, so then after that perform the production operation here. Then it's connect to the human HR and payroll system under expenditure cycle. So we need to we will have the payroll time card connected here, and then we have the maintaining of inventory controls, just to maintain the first the raw materials inventory and the finished good inventory record. So we managing the inventory through these two main types, and then record into the general ledger system, which is the will also be before the general ledger. Yeah, we updated from the inventory control, but also it's updated from performing the cost accounting. So cost accounting will be also bringing the cost of the production in here. So, and also The input for performing cost accounting will be also raw materials requisition, job ticket for the staff, and then it will update as well as the working orders coming from the plan control of the production, and then cost standards, and we mean that the standard cost, which is the expected, or what is the standard cost that applied, we should meet this cost. Okay, so this one, I believe it's kind of things that you already take in details in separate subject on managerial accounting. Okay, so here we have example of the production schedule. The production schedule is the formal plan and authorization begin the production. So in here we can see here the batch number, the quantity units, the starting date. So this is the date of starting and the complete date. Then here we have again the starting and complete, starting, complete, and so on for the batch production. So this is the scheduling, production scheduling. It gives information about quantity, units of quantities, the batch number, starting and complete process. Another document related to the system here is the bill of materials, BOM. Specifies the type and quantity of raw materials and sub-assemblies used for each unit of the finished product. So example here, you can see here the material items number, and we have the quantity of that unit, and here the description. So in total you can see that the bill of materials for each finished goods is what we need to have one product. Okay, here we have example of the road sheets, shows that the production path or the sequence flow of the production from the starting to the end of the finished goods. That can be in a batch process or in individual process. So this is the textbook example where we have here the working centers and then the operational code. The operations code here, we have the description of the operation, and then we have the standard in terms of timing and in terms of the units. This example I bring it in a computer or advanced system, where we can see here the movement is based on the barcode. So they scan the barcode to understand the flow of the process, either here on and so on. So we see the flow of the process from raw materials along the production line. Okay, so then we have the work order. Work orders is using the POM or the bill of material and the road sheets to specify the materials and the production for each batch. So we can see here we have the working centers, we have the operation code, we have as well as the description, we have here the information that we have it in the from the road sheets. We have the actual production, unit complete, and unit or scope, and so on. So that's the what is working order all about. Okay, so here we have moving ticket. Moving ticket is records work done in each working center. Working centers means each point of production line and the authorization of the movement of the product from one center, a work center, to another. Okay, so we have here the moving ticket example. We have batch number, and then we have the number of units to be moved to working center number, and the operation code or number, starting date and finish date, the quantity received, and then we need to show the receiving by whom. And sometimes we also need some they will also put the authorization signature. Okay, so here we have material requisition, and it authorizes the storekeeper to release materials into the production process. We call it the materials requisition or returns. It shows some information about the one who issue the material requisition, working order numbers, date and description, then quantity and unit cost, extended cost. Then if you notice here, we have the authorization by, received by, and also cost accounting, just to ensure they are updated about the movement of the production, the movement of the raw materials in working, so they can trace the cost there. Okay, here we have the batch production process. We can see here we have production planning and controls, we have working centers, we have store keeping, and we can call them the inventory controls. Also here we have inventory controls, and store keeping is the one who control the materials. Okay, so it is quite complicated because too many documents, if you notice, because we still in the conceptual system for the production, and that's why we have many manual process and also many documentations here and there. So if you we start here in assessing the inventory requisition, and this process is manual, starting by from the marketing department or the sales department to bring a document for sales production, and then from the file of bill of material, we will have one copy of bill of material, and then we have road sheets from the road file to be input for the assessing inventory requisition, as well as we will have the inventory status from the inventory, from the inventory control. That's why we have it here. Okay, and then we have engineering department, if we have, just to which they are under the production, or we can call them the designers for that. So all of them they will assess the inventory requisition. So from the assessing the inventory requisition, we'll have purchase requisition, or we call it raw materials purchase requisition. They will send to for purchasing one copy, and then one copy will send to if you see here, it will send to process it in the inventory control for purchase requisition filing, and then we will they will process those POM or bill of materials and road sheet. They will process to be for the to issue the production schedule, and then they will file it in open working orders, and then we will have another copy will send to the working centers. Okay, in the working centers, as well as we this one also will keep copies in the for cost accounting. We also will send a copy of working orders and also moving ticket, material requisition, all will be moved. Also, one copy will goes to the centers, to the working centers. And we have here, we will have the check out open work orders, and then we will this one also will be, we'll get some production schedules and so on from working centers as an input. So we can see that the flow of from working centers here to update. But here we one of the documents for the working orders will be sent to the cost accounting for processing the cost accounting. Here we update, we will have the raw materials. Sorry, okay, so we have material requisition will be sent to store keeping to release the needed materials for the production, and also some copies will goes to here for filing, materials returns and materials in process. Then for the storekeeping, they will receive, as we said, the material requisition, and then they will process excess material, and also they will file the documents here. Also, they will send the material returns if there is a material to be returned to the inventory, and they will send a copy to the internal or inventory control. Sorry. In the inventory controls, if you see here, we have they review the records based on computer base. That's why we have materials. But if we are 100% manual, then we will have this also in the shape of manual process like this. Okay, so review the records. Okay, then we will have an arrow for filing. Sorry, this one is not in the system by system, so we will have the file in manual this way. Same like this one. Okay, so then update the inventory record. As I said, this is they assume that it is a basic advanced system, basic technology processing system, and then updating the inventory records, and then updating the general ledger based on the general vouchers here. Okay, now let's explain again the batch production activities in a narrative way. So starting for the production planning and controls departments, where we need to specify the materials and operation requirement, and we explain this based on the market forecasting and customer orders, and as well as one of the inputs is the assessing the inventory record, and then the production schedule. For the material and operation requirement, first requirement is the requirement of the raw materials is the difference between what is needed for the batch production and what is available in the raw materials inventory. The purchase requisition created to fill up the gap of the needed or the different and the gap of the raw materials needed for the batch production. The production scheduling is master scheduling coordinates the production of the different batch, because we have many batches of production, so we need to have master scheduling file to coordinate the productions different in batch of batch. Produce work orders, move tickets, and material requisition For each batch with the copies of working orders will be sent to the cost accounting to update the production cost accounting. Okay, so here we will talk also under the batch production activities. We will talk about the work centers and the store keeping. Okay, so we start from the production begins when the workers obtain raw materials, and then after that, when task completed, move tickets authorizes the batch to proceed to the next center, working center, with copy sent to the production planning, and then finished products sent to finished goods warehouse, and copy of the work order sent to the inventory control to update the finished good inventory records. And then the work center supervisors send employee time card and job ticket to the payroll and cost accounting to update the production cost, the final production cost, also to update the for reporting the general ledger. Okay, so in the side of inventory control, it starts with providing the production planning and controls with the status report on the finished goods and raw materials inventory, which we explained in the first in the beginning of the inventory, where we it's kind of assessing the inventory record, which is part of the, as we said, it's the input to that process. And then continual update of raw materials inventory according to the need and scheduling, planning, scheduling production of the production, and then records completed the production by updating the finished goods inventory record. Economic order quantity EOQ model is a model where we try to specify the point for ordering and managing the order from suppliers, as for in this case for the raw materials. Actually, we have explained this model in the purchasing expenditure cycle. So I'll just give some points here just for reminding. So the economic order quantities, it's helped to identify when and how much inventory should be purchased. The objectives of inventory control is to minimize total inventory cost while ensuring the adequate inventories to meet the demand. For the economic order quantity, we should know that the EOQ model based on the assumptions that may not reflect the economic reality. So we'll talk now about the assumptions it's assumed that the EOQ assume that the demand is constant and known with certainty. Ordering lead time is known and constant. All inventories in order arrive at the same time. There is no delay. Total yearly cost of placing orders decreased as order quantity increase. This is the assumption number 4. Number 5, carrying costs increase as quantity of inventory order increase. No quantity discount, so the purchase price is constant. So those assumptions not necessary is reflecting the reality or the economic reality. That's why this is one of the criticism taking place, arguing about the economic order quantity. So this figure is explaining the objectives of the EOQ model, which is based on reducing the total inventory cost and determining the best point of ordering ordering the raw materials or purchasing any goods based on the annual cost of inventory and the order quantity. So if you see this curve, that the more quantity you order, the less the more quantity you order, the less cost will have. But also we need to see this the total holding of the cost of curve, because the more quantity you have, then you need to have bigger space on the warehouse and so on. So the point where those two are crossing and meet is the point where you should consider to make order in terms of the quantity. It's not based on the market, it's not based on the timing of the driving. So all of this is constant in this EOQ. So it's not the best practice for maintaining the raw materials warehouse or the raw materials ordering process in inventory. The assumptions of the EOQ model produce the saw-toothed inventory usage pattern illustrated below. So here we explain the quantity of the inventory, the level of the inventory, and this is the timing or the daily timing of requisition. And we can see here the daily demand is dropped and up. Then we can see that there is this is the inventory cycle, mean the inventory cycles of ordering and also sending. So we, it shows that there is a lead time here and in all inventory cycle. So that it shows that it's not efficient. It's not, the EOQ model is not that efficient for handling the inventory ordering process. So this figure is explaining the use of safety stock to prevent the stock out. So when the inventory are subject to the variation, additional inventory unit, the safety stock are added to the reorder point to avoid the stock out events. So in here it shows that the reorder point to of purchase, it shows that 50 stock is added every time we make an order, just to avoid the stock out events, okay, which is not efficient. It shows that we order more than what is requested. Cost accounting activities, we will talk in details. Just now we talk in generals, cost accounting along with other activities. Here we will talk about the cost accounting activities in detail. So the main objectives for cost accounting is first control the cost, and then cost computation, and then reduction of the cost or reducing the cost. Here we will talk about the cost accounting procedures. As we say, here we have two main departments level here, the cost accounting and the general ledger. For the starting process here is the initial working in progress record and updating the working process in process and calculate the variance. So the main input is coming from the production planning, working centers, and the inventory controls. So for the production planning, it create the working order, and the working orders will be key in computer as assumption. We are having basic technology processing system. So initial working process record, and then updating the working in progress file. From working centers in the production line, we will have two main documents, job tickets, and also we have the moving ticket for the raw materials in the production line. From the inventory controls, as explained in the previous system flowchart, we have the material requisition, we have the access of material documents and materials returns. All of this come from the inventory control as an input for this process to update the working in process and calculate the variance. To calculate the variance, we need to have this information from the standard cost file to compare with the actual cost come from the working centers, inventories, and the production plan. All of this will be compared with the standard file cost and then calculate the variance of cost. So the output of this process, it will update, also it will be filing all of these documents. So moving ticket, job ticket, material requisition, access materials, material returns, and as well as the working order. So all of these files, since it is manual, so we need it will be filed here in the accounting cost accounting department, and then we will have an update to the general voucher, and also we will have an update to the labor variance, material variance, and manufacturing overhead variance. So all of this variance will be reported to the management reporting system to have internal reporting system as explained in early time. And then the general vouchers will go to the general ledger department to update the general ledger, and then we can see here we're updating the general ledger file and then filing the general vouchers in the general ledger file. For sure, we also will update the general vouchers from the inventory controls as explained in the previous diagram. So cost accounting activities start by recording the financial effect of the physical event occurring in the production process, begins when the production planning and control departments send the work order to the cost accounting, and the cost accounting clerk creates the new cost records for the batch and files in the working in progress file, and then the records are updated as material and labor are used. The deviation from the standard cost are recorded to produce the variance files, variance in materials, variance on the overhead costs, and so on. And then the receipt of last move tickets signals completion of the production and transfer for the working in progress to the finished good inventory. Working in progress account is closed. The journal vouchers are recorded and sent to the general ledger department for posting to the control account. All of this narrative explanation has been explained just now in the diagram. Let's talk now about controls in the conversion cycle in the traditional environment. In this table, we summarize the physical controls in the conversion cycle. So we have in the left side, we have the control categories, and then we have in the right side, the control point in the system. So first we have the transaction authorization. We have the control point is work order, moving tickets, and material requisition. Then after that we have the category of segregation of duties. We have three main groups as a control point in the system. The first one is inventory control should separate from raw materials and finished good inventory custody. The second is segregation of cost accounting from the working or from the work centers. And then the third one is the general ledger clerk should be separated from the accounting functions. For supervision, the control point in the system should be the supervisors oversee the usage of the raw materials and timekeeping. Access control limit the physical access to the finished good and raw material stocks, and the production process use the formal procedures and proper documentations to release the materials into the production. Following category is the accounting record, work orders, cost sheets, move ticket, job ticket, material requisition, working in progress, WIP or WIP records, and the finished good inventories file should be having the accessibility to those records should be having that authorization as well as the segregation of duties. Lastly is the independent verification. Cost accounting functions reconciles all costs of the production, and then also the general ledger reconciles the overall system. Here we will have a table explaining the IT application control in the conversion cycle. We have three categories of controls. We have input controls, processing controls, output controls. For the input controls, we have edit controls to deduct clerical errors in input data, check digit for the validation account numbers, and all of the other input controls that we explained in previous chapters. And then we have processing controls. We have error message to signify the account mismatching, password controls to prevent unauthorized access to the system, and so on. The backup procedures to protect the digital files, and so on. Multiple security, multi-level security, automated posting to subsidiary and general ledger accounts. And then lastly is the output controls, security over distribution of the production documents and the management reports. And here it's explained in details in a narrative way, the transaction authorization. I did explain it already in the tables, so I will not go one by one. So maybe I take one of the examples is the production planning and controls authorize the production activities via the formal working or work orders, and then moving ticket to be signed by supervisors. All of this is a point of control in the transaction authorization. We explained that we have we should have separation of transaction authorization and processing. Also we should also have separation of record keeping from the custody. So we have three categories of separation: those who keep the record and those who custody the assets. So inventory control records separate from those who store rooms or storekeeping clerk in the warehouse. Also cost accounting should be separated from the production work centers or the work center. GL separate from the subsidiary accounting records. And here we have also the supervision, and we explain here all of this has been explained in the table, so I don't need to go in details for each one. So we have direct access to the assets, and as well as indirect access to the assets. Here we also have the accounting records. So the objective is to establish an audit trail for each transaction, independent for independent verification, we have three control point in the system. We have cost accounting, reconciles materials, labor used with the standards and standards cost, and investigates the variance. In the first part of this class, we did explain the different activities of the conversion cycles. We did explain also the basic technology processing systems in the batch system and so on. So let's talk about the integrated or advanced system. But talking about the advanced technology processing system in conversion cycle, we should explain the platform or the type of manufacturing advanced technology environment first, which we call the world-class company. The world-class company is advanced technology companies based on several principles and strategies. We'll explain it in a short while. Will drive us to understand what is the advanced environment, advanced technology environment, not only based on the technology, it's also based on the techniques and strategies to serve the world-class company. Okay, so the first concept or principle on the world-class company is maintains strategic agility, able to return on a dime, aware of the customer needs, and not resist to break the paradigm, the change, meaning that it's customer centric. Okay, and next, motivates and treat employees like appreciating assets, with decision pushed to the lowest level of the organization. Profitability meets the customer needs and continually delight them. Customer satisfaction and loyalty philosophy permeates all activities or measure all activities. Manufacturers follow an philosophy of lean manufacturing. Lean manufacturing, in an easy way, is or in a simple words, lean manufacturing means the process of manufacturing with minimum wastage. Okay, so we'll explain that in details. So if you notice here, we have more than three principles of the world-class companies is based on human, based on customers and employee. So we maintaining the strategy and flexibility to be aware of the customer needs, and then produce the production and services based on the customer needs, not based on the management process. Also, the profitability should meet the customer needs. So we need also to consider the customers on this matter. Also, the customer satisfactions for service and production before and after the sales and so on. Okay, so we understand now that the world-class companies is based on the customers. It's customer centric or customer orientation based. Okay, so let's talk about the principles of lean manufacturing. Lean manufacturing, as we said, is a principles or techniques to reduce the wastage of any activity that's not adding any value to the production and conversion process. So the lean manufacturing come in the first place. This concept come from the Toyota production system, TPS, which is based on just-in-time production mode or production model. The goals is to improving the efficiency and effectiveness in every area of the manufacturing of the production. So the main objectives of the just-in-time or Toyota production system is to reduce the wasting, free up the cash flow, create time effectiveness, mean reduce the timing of between the production and in the production line. Warehouse stock is minimized, so just in time, even in Toyota, I did explain this previously. So the just in time activities where we don't have warehouse for many for raw materials, so we get effective connectivity with the suppliers to bring in the raw materials to the direct to the line of production where it's needed in the right time, in the right quantity, without any defected raw materials and so on, in order to ensure the time effectiveness and increase the customer responsiveness. Okay, so that's the principles of line manufacturing. We will talk in details on this. So we have what we call the principle of line manufacturing is based on ball processing, involves the pulling the product from the consumer end, from the demand, meaning that we produce according to the demand rather than pushing from the production end supply. So we consider the customers order and customer forecasting of ordering to do the production process or the manufacturing, instead of having the pushing process. We'll explain the difference between pushing process and pulling process in next slide. Perfect quality, zero inventory defects is required for ball processing success. So we need to ensure that, because if we have inventory defects, then we will have problem in meeting the customer orders, and we will have lack of customer responsiveness. The waste minimization requires activities that do not add value or maximize the use of scarce resources by eliminating those non-adding value activities. Okay, and this involves the financial, human, and inventory, as well as the fixed assets. So whatever any human or any financial wastage or any inventory in terms of the raw materials not necessary, so it should be cut and reducing the waste. Okay, so here we compare the push and pull. So for for Bosch is making all we can just in case, without considering the customer order and the forecasting of sales, whereby Ball is considered that making what is needed and when we need it for based on the customer order and sales forecasting. So this is just to compare the for bowling is production. The production is precise, actual consumption, small lots of the warehouse, low inventory cost, wastage reduction, management by site, and then better communication to the customer and as well as to the supplier. The principles of lean manufacturing is based on the inventory reduction. The inventory reduction concept is considered the heart of the lean manufacturing or the cornerstone. So by inventory reduction, we mean the objectives is to ensure the reduction of the cost of holding the inventory in first place, and cancel the production problems, and can quickly over the production. I mean, respond to the production process. So then we have the production flexibility, strives to reduce setup time to a minimum, allowing for the production of greater diversity of the product quickly without sacrificing the efficiency of the production. So being flexible but ensuring the efficiency is in the satisfactory level. Then we have established supplier relations, meaning that we need to, in order to reduce the inventory in the warehouse, so we bring the inventory or the raw materials direct to the production and so on. So we need to ensure good relation with suppliers, which are mandatory, as late deliveries, effective raw materials, or incorrect orders will shut down the production due to the lack of inventory reserves. So by having a good relation with authentic and valid suppliers, repeated and good suppliers, so we ensure that there is no lack of or shutdown of the production due to the inventory reserves or incorrect orders and so on. Team attitudes require each employee to be vigilant and aware of the problems that threaten the continuous flow of the production line. So now let's talk about techniques and technologies that promote the lean manufacturing. First, physical reorganization of the production facilities. Simplify the facility arrangement, shortens the physical distance between activities, reduce setup and processing time, handling the cost and inventories. In a simple way, trying to simplify the facilities and shortening the physical destination between activities. Example, let's say we have lane of production, so we start with let's say car manufacturing, so we should bring them in one line of production in order to reduce and simplify the facilities of the production. So the physical reorganization of the production facilities, this is the first techniques of the lean manufacturing. Second is the automation of the manufacturing process. We need to bring in the computer and the reports to handle, and the machine to handle activities in the manufacturing. Okay, so by replacing labor with automation, firm can reduce the waste, improve the efficiency, increase the quality, and improve the flexibility. Traditional manufacturing consists of a range of different machines, each controlled by single operator. The Iceland of the technology is an environment where the automation exists in Iceland of computer numerical controlled machines that perform multiple operations with little human involvement. We will see an example of this figure is explaining the traditional factory layout, which explain how the facilities should be redesigned again in order to serve the lean manufacturing model. So let's trace the process in this traditional layout. So starting by receiving the raw materials, and then store it in the warehouse, then do the administrative office of recording these items in the inventory controls and so on. Then start the sheet metal, the stamping, which is the first process of the materials of the production. Then welding. After welding, we send to the milling machines, and then grinding the product, then drilling process. After drilling process, we come back again to the milling machine, and then we go to for leathers to assemble the leathers, then sub assembly of the materials of the production, and then go for final assembly, then painting the product, and then goes to the testing and quality controls. After that, shipping the product either to the warehouse as a finished goods and so on. So you can see how messy is the process here. It's not the facilities here is, it shows that it's quite not well organized. So let's say how flexible production system under the lean manufacturing. So starting by receiving the product, receiving the raw materials, sorry, and then ship the metal cells. Then we have welding cells, we have machining, and then we have finished machining cell, and then we have assembly, we have final assembly, and then testing, and then we have shipping of the product. We have here the administration in the middle because it's the where we reduce the production. If you notice in the previous layout, we have leather, we have many process. We talk about milling the machines and so on. Here we try they try to reduce the activities that is not adding value to the product, but bringing machine where the machine can do multiple functions in the production. Okay, so the automation continuum, or the progression of automation toward the world-class company status, starting for sure the traditional, and then moving to island technology where the machine is doing multiple activities with less or little involvement and control by human. And then the ultimate or the most advanced system where the computer integrated manufacturing, we have robotic machines doing A to Z, or we can see majority of the functions. Okay, so some of the technology used in the manufacturing lane. The first one, or the first concept, is computer integrated manufacturing, CIM. And computer integrated manufacturing is a completely automated environment with objectives of eliminating non-value added activities. If you see here, we have here an example of the machine, and we have example of the computer in this side, and then the rest activities is handled by the machine itself. And then we have automated storage and retrieval system, AS or RS. This automated storage and retrieval system are computer controlled conveyor systems that carry the materials to the shop floor and finish products to the warehouse. It reduced the errors, improve the inventory controls, lower the storage cost, and the best company who using this is the Amazon company. And you can watch, there is some documentary videos or movie talking about Amazon warehouse technology and so on, where they have very minimal involvement of human in their process, using the sensors, using the robotic machines to moving the product in there. And then the robotics use robots to perform specific actions over and over with high degree of precision or perfection. Also, it's used in hazardous environment or for the performing a dangerous and accident prone environment. So they use especially for the dangerous activities where the human may be it's risky for them to handle that, like handling the high fire processing machine and so on. So the machine will handle that. The robotic is the best in handling. Okay, then we also have the technology of computer aid design, CAD, where this CAD is used to design better product faster, increases the productivity and accuracy, and allows firms to be more responsive to the market demand, shortens the time between initial and final design, advanced system design product and process in the same time. Then technology of computer aided manufacturing, CAM. The CAM is the use of computers to assess the manufacturing process. Output of the CAD system, which is CAD is for designing, is the feed or the input of the CAM system. It benefits including the improved processing productivity, cost and time estimation is more accurate, process monitoring and quality during the process of the production, and decreases the setup and labor cost. So now we see here the flow chart or system of the computer integrated manufacturing system. Here we see we have design phase, and we have excessive phase or processing of manufacturing phase. You see here we have workstation as a terminal for automated CAD or software, meaning that for designing the product, and then we move or store this design database, and after that it will process this design into automatically in a software for computer aid manufacturing software, which can be explained by having the manufacturing work centers. We have CNC, we have AC and RC for storing and retrieval of the raw materials. And this will also we should, yeah, for sure we still need to have human labor, but in a very minimal for controlling the machines in some part. And then we have the cell of machines here, the robotic, and we have also the raw materials, finished goods to deliver to the warehouse. So it's if you notice here, all of this process is automated, mostly automated. Okay. Now we move to another concept based on the manufacturing lane called the value streaming mapping. Value stream mapping is trying to figure out the timing and activities and reduce or stream the activities based on the value or the adding value of the process. Based on the value stream mapping concept, we should categorize or identify the activities into essential activities which adding value to the process of the production, and non-essential activities. For essential activities which adding value, we keep it and stream it within the mapping of the production, whereby non-essential activities which do not add any value should be eliminated. The company's value stream includes all steps essential to produce the product. Companies targeting to have lean manufacturing use a value stream map (VSM) to identify business processing aspects that are wasteful and should be eliminated, as we said. So non-essential activities should be identified to considered as wasteful and should be eliminated. So to do that, works best in focused, high volume process which benefit from reducing repetitive processes by even small amount of time. Less effective, the value stream mapping is less effective in low volume process in which employees frequently switch between multiple tasks. So this is a figure illustrating the value stream mapping. You can see here we have the receiving order activity, and we have here the overtime is 0%, and we have the full-time equivalent is varies, is different. Then the shift is 1. We have 1 shift to handle this receiving order. We have uptime is varies, and then we have errors estimation is 5%. How much it take 5 minutes. Then we have 6 hours in as a station to start doing the picking the second activities, which is picking the raw materials from the warehouse, and we have 10% overtime. We have the full-time equivalent is 5.2, and then shift is 1, uptime is 80%, errors is 5%. So to do this process is 20 minutes, and so on. So the idea here, so if you notice here, we have the outbound batch time here is the 6 hours, and then we have the inbound queue time is 5.5 hours. So by identifying this process in terms of timing, in terms of the overtime and shifting and so on, all of these details, if we do the analysis and we get this, we can value stream the activities and know which activity should be eliminated or reduced, and how to combine and so on, how to combine some activities, doing it instead of doing repeated activities in different. Now let's talk about accounting information and lean manufacturing. The accounting in lean manufacturing environment requires different method or new methods on and information, which shows what matters to customers in terms of quality and services, identifies profitable products and customers, identifies opportunities for operation and product improvement, encourage adoption of value-added activities and processes, and identifies those that do not adding value. Efficiently supports the multiple use with both financial and non-financial information. So the accounting information or the accounting methods and information should serve these new objectives, not only focusing in calculating the cost of the production and compare and calculate the variance from the actual cost from the standard cost. So it's more in. Before we go to discuss the accounting in lean manufacturing environment, let's talk about what is wrong with the traditional cost accounting information? First, incorrect cost allocation occurred because overhead is assumed to be directly related to the direct labor. Automation changes the relationship between direct labor, direct materials, and overhead costs, which become more significant. Using standard costs leads to distortion in a lean environment. Also, the traditional accounting information promotes non-lean behavior due to incentives to produce large inventories and conceal waste in overhead allocation. Time lag, time delay, as a standard cost data are historical in nature, so it's after the fact happen. So the information is based on historical, which is too late to be useful in lean environment. Okay. Lastly, the traditional accounting information is financial oriented, so it is not always suitable for the evaluation pertaining to functionality and improvement. Since we talk about the traditional accounting used in the manufacturing regarding the cost accounting and so on, we cannot ignore the activities-based costing model. It is a method that allocates cost to facilitate the planning and control by assigning costs to activities and cost object. Activities describe work performance in the company, and the cost objects are the reasons for performing that activities. Assumes that activities cause cost and that that products and other cost objects create demand for the activity. The first step in applying the activity-based costing, ABC, is to determine the cost of an activities and an appropriate activity driver that measure the consumption. So ABC uses the multiple activities drivers, whereas the traditional accounting has only one machine or labor hours. So just as an example, so they focus the traditional accounting to determine the cost is focusing in less drivers of the cost compared to the activity-based cost. So activity-based costing key terms, first is the activity, work performed in the organization, activities drivers, any measure of the frequency and intensity imposed by the cost object, resources, financial input consumed by the activities, resources driver, any measures of the quantity of resources consumed by the activity. Lastly is the cost object, any customer services process that requires separate cost measurement. So those are the terminologies used in the cost activity-based costing. Okay, so here we have the allocation figure, or the figure explaining the allocation of overhead cost to product under the ABC, or the activity-based costing. So we have here in this side we have the activity ball. Here we have several activities. Here we have the activity cost drivers. Here is the activity cost drivers. So and here the production flow. So we have direct labor cost. We also will have total manufacturing cost. This is the overhead. So then we have material cost, and the drivers, or the drivers mean how to measure it. Here we measure it by direct labor hours, and here materials cost is the number of materials used in this activity. Then we have machine cost, we have the machine hours, as a driver, and setup cost is this setup hours. Then we have order cost is the number of orders placed, materials handling cost is number of loads, and then lastly is the quality assurance cost is the inspection hours. Of course, so in other words, the measuring and the activities is based on first identifying the activities object, and we set up the activity cost drivers, meaning that the measures. So advantages of using ABC or activity based costing. We have more accurate costing of the production and services, customers and distribution channels, identifying the most and least profitable products and customer, accurately tracks cost of activities and processes, equipping the managers to drive continuous improvement. Lastly, facilitate better marketing mix, and then identifying waste and non-value added activities. Disadvantage: two times it's too long to consuming and complicated to be practical. So it's difficult to practice and it takes too long time. Promote complex bureaucracies or bureaucratics in conflict with the lean manufacturing philosophy of the process simplification and waste elimination. So it's not matching the lean manufacturing philosophy because it is too complex and it is too bureaucratic process in essence. Value stream accounting is new method to meeting the lean manufacturing philosophy. It captures the cost by value stream rather than by department or activity, making it simpler than activity based costing accounting. So it's also the value streams cut across functional and departmental lines and includes non-manufacturing cost. Essential aspect is defining the product family. We'll talk about it and illustrate it in the next slide by the figure. And the value stream accounting makes no distinction between direct and indirect cost. Raw materials based on the purchase and all employee labor cost of the employees in the value streams are included. Lastly, typically only allocated cost is a charge for the facility, meaning the overhead costs which cannot be controlled are not allocated to the cost of the production. So in this figure it explains the cost assignment to the value stream. We have here the concept of value stream product family A and value stream of product family B. So it means we have two types of production, two types of production in terms of the nature of the product. Let's say we have like Milo, they have the liquid and they have the powder, so we can allocate the materials and the activities based on these two types of families. So starting from the activities that is only for this product, for this family, so we have the production materials, we have the production labor, we have sell of machines, sell machines. So these are used only, or these activities are used only for this product family. And we have also for the value stream for the product family B, we have also production materials, production labor, and sell machines, or the machine that used for this group. And then in the middle we have the activity that can be used or the activities for both families. So we have marketing and selling expenses, product design, support, labor, facilities, rent and maintenance, and lastly distribution expenses. So based on this, we have different value streaming based on the value stream family of the products, which bring cutting several activities and avoiding the redundance and non-value activities. Okay, so this is the table explaining the grouping of the product by family. So we have several groups. So let's say here the product A, this product code is in the family, in this family, and this product also in the same family. So the labors will do labors here will do the same do the same activities to produce this product, unless we can see here a machine only for the B and only for the product B, whereby the rest is based on the labor and manual base. Okay, so the information system that support lean manufacturing, the materials requirement plan is MRB. MRB is an automated production planning and control system used to support inventory management. Actually, we did talk about the MRB in the production in the expenditure purchasing cycle as one of the advanced processing system for processing or managing the inventory. It ensures the adequate raw materials for the production process, maintains the lowest possible level of the inventory on hand, and it produces production and purchasing schedules and other information needed to control the production. So the materials requirements planning is based on bill of materials, sales order, demand forecasting, and inventory. So all of this will be gathered, all of this information will gather in the master production schedule to process or to collaborate those information in order to produce automatically the material requirement planning. Okay, so this is an overview of the MRB system. So sales order, finished good inventory, sales forecasting, all of this will be input for the production planning system, and then we have the bill of materials, raw materials, inventory will be also included along with the production schedule to the materials requirements planning system, and all of this will create a file of raw materials requirement. Okay, so the manufacturing resources planning. Manufacturing resources planning is the MRB version 2, which is extension of the MRB that has evolved beyond the inventory management. So it coordinates a wide range of manufacturing activities compared to the MRB. MRB is focusing, MRB1 is focusing only in the inventory, whereby MRB2 is coordinate a wide range of manufacturing activities. The benefits include improving the customer services and cash flow, reduce the inventory, increase the productivity, help in achieving long-term goals, and managing change and production flexibility. So to compare between MRB1 and MRB2, the MRB1 stands for Material Requirement Planning, whereby MRB2 is stand for Manufacturing Resource Planning. For MRB1 is the plan the need of materials, whereby MRB2 is plan of the need of the resources in general, so it includes also the resources like the labor and so on. It's not only for the raw materials. For MRB1, it comprises only the manufacturing area, whereby MRB2 it includes the entire organization. MRB1 it is an open system, whereby MRB2 is closed loop manufacturing resources planning. For MRB1, it is the response to what, how much, and when to acquire the materials, whereby MRB2 it is response to some as MRB1, what, how much, and when to acquire the materials, and also how much and when it will be produced, and what are the available resources for the production process. Okay, lastly, MRB1 improves the material and production scheduling, whereby MRB2 improves the productivity in general. So in here we have a figure illustrating the integration of manufacturing and financial system with the MRB2 environment. So we can see that we have again the sales order coming from sales order processing system. We have the raw materials and finished goods inventory information come from inventory control system, and then we have the output of the manufacturing resource planning using the MRB2 system. So it will bring the output is completed work orders, which will send to billing system, and then we have raw materials requisition sent to the purchasing system, and then we have employee time information sent to the payroll system for the recording of the time allocation, and then we have complete move of ticket during the working in progress. So, and then it will send to cost accounting system for updating. Lastly, it is the information, performance information for management reporting system. Another information system supporting the lean manufacturing is the enterprise resource planning, ARP. The ARP systems are a software collection that integrate the entire organization into one system connected to a single common database. Actually, ARP system is especially with the big companies, manufacturing companies, they use it widely because it reduces a lot of cost and a lot of wastage and so on. So also we already explained in the purchasing cycle, the EDI. So EDI is the electronic data interchange. Communication link allows firms to interact with the customers and suppliers via internet or direct connection. So functions of ARP. First, it connects the human resource, connect the marketing, manufacturing, supply chain management, purchase management, sales management, inventory management, financial and accounting. So it connects all of this. It is a collection set of software that connect all of these softwares, separate softwares, in order to have what we call integrated database and also having better lean manufacturing environment. This figure is explaining the difference between MRB1, the material requisition planning, requirement planning, and the second MRB, which is manufacturing resource planning, and the ARB system. So if you notice, MRB1 is master for master production scheduling, bill of materials, inventory tracking. It serves only the production, the inventory management based on the master production scheduling coming from the bill of materials, inventory tracking, as well as from the sales order and the forecasting from marketing system. And then for MRB2, machine capacity scheduling, demand forecasting, quality assurance, general accounting, whereby ARB is more wide, covering all activities of the company or organization. Core financials, covering the account receivable, account payable, general ledger. Also, it's relate customers relationship management, supply chain management, human resource, enterprise assets tracking, marketing automation, project management. So it covers more activities. So in here we can see that the ARB system is more supportive to the lean manufacturing. Thank you, dear brother and sisters, for reaching to the end of the video. So I believe this topic is quite long but interesting. So in this topic we cover the traditional environment of manufacturing. We talk about the four main activities under the manual or the traditional environment. So we have designing the product, we have the scheduling and planning the production, and then we have the production process, and lastly we have the cost accounting activities. Then we talk also about the some of the risk and risk categories, and also we talk about the controls, and then we move to the what we call the advanced system. So by talking about advanced system or advanced technology system in the manufacturing, we should talk about the world-class companies or manufacturing, which is based on the lean manufacturing. World-class means it's a company where it's centric, or it is focusing in the customer's need, and one of the techniques on that is bowling activities or bowling production mode instead of pushing. So we produce based on the customer order. And then we also talk about the lean manufacturing, which is one of the main dimension of the lean manufacturing philosophy is the inventory reduction, and the flexibility of the production, employee attitudes, and so on. All of that will create a good environment, and in terms of reducing the wastage and so on. We also talk about the some techniques and technologies that support the manufacturing, lean manufacturing. We talk about some technologies like CAD and CAM and so on, that it supports the lean manufacturing. And then after that we move to talk about the accounting information in focus, and the lean manufacturing. We talk about the activity-based costing, EBC. We talk about the advantage and disadvantage of it, and then after that we talk about the solution of the disadvantage of EBC, which is the value stream accounting, and we explain what is it and so on. And then last point we cover here, we talk about the systems MRB 1 and MRB 2, and then we explain the ARB, which is the advanced integrated system that in line with lean manufacturing and giving advantages to the lean manufacturing and so on. Okay, with this I end up my class. Thank you so much for your listening and hope to see you next week. Assalamu alaikum.